Today is Monday, January 9th, year of our Lord 2023. Who we got, Brandy?
We have Thor today.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Well, good afternoon, sir. Thank you for showing up. God of Thunder might have something to say about how this works. Okay, we've talked about free energy here and how buildings engage with this, waterways were the conduits, but the real conduit, the real baseline, the real energy grid of our planet is called a ley line. You've never heard of this term before?
Yes, I have.
Tell me what
Yes,
you've
we
heard.
have.
What do you think you know?
Thor, you go first. What do you know about ley lines?
Well, not too much. I know that ley lines are the energy sources and different areas of the country. But that's about what I know.
Okay. Well, according to Wiktionary, which is a left-leaning publication, it's a noun. The etymology comes from a guy named Alfred Watkins, and it comes from ley or meadow, and line, so a meadow line. And he believed that Mr. Watkins did that the toponym ley was indicative of a Neolithic path. Well, the early people, the Neolithic age, which I do not believe is part of our actual history, is they would obviously follow these lines because of their natural energy engagement, right? So just like all the things that have some significance in search, this has been taken away from us. There is something. This is a show of some sort. This says that according to this show, that this is all the librarians is the name of this show. This is about kids that are magic and they go to a magic school. I saw part of this years ago. Ley lines are magical energy that go all around the earth, spreading magic through it. Over the years, ley lines have slowly faded and their magic has been transferred into objects, which later turned into artifacts. So what they're saying is, yeah, this happened. It was around, but it's not around anymore. So sure, that might have happened but everybody knows magic can't be real. No, it depends on your definition, doesn't it?
Well, depends what the definition is for magic.
Well, any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. Walked right into that one. So if I go back 200 years and show someone a cell phone, they're going to walk back 300 years. They're going to burn me at stake.
That's true.
For being a wizard. They were right.
Yeah.
So the most potent ancient monuments around the world. Oh, and all these links are up in a very truncated show notes post that I just put up. And along with the Twitch link. Oh, shit. Let me get Twitch up. Sorry. So tell me more about this thing, ley lines, and because you got to have a little bit of extra here while I get Twitch up and running. You got to have a little extra here. It's magic, right? That's what everything gets pushed away to.
They blame it on magic. They call it evil, and pieces.
Yep, that's right. That's right. Evil, occult, bad. Oh, don't go near there. Don't touch that stove. It's hot. You can be a little baby and go back to the corner and wait for me to feed you and put you in your high chair and give you a government check. Okay, everything on Earth is in transformative and change right now, especially during our time of Aquarius that we're moving into. Flowing, growing, blowing, falling, and rising. Many of these systems, such as rivers, wind, weather, and tides, are easily seen. Some are invisible to us because our senses can pick up only a limited range of vibrations and radiations. For example, we can see color but not X-rays. We can hear sounds, but only if they're loud enough and only if they are within our hearing range. So what they're saying here is that ley line energy is like one of these things that we can possibly sense, but is not available to the training of our current senses. Does that make sense?
That does.
Well, the human body is the best receiver on Earth. We can detect many things that machines and technologies cannot, especially in the areas of emotion, feeling, and consciousness. Two subtle energy systems on the frontiers of human perception, the electromagnetic fields of underground water streams and ley lines, are beginning to be recognized Partially here, I hope, studied and used today. These earth energies are important because ancient monuments such as stone circles as well as cathedrals and all kinds of historic sacred places are invariably situated on centers of Earth's energies. Ley line system exists as independent circuitry within the capacity to affect consciousness. Ley lines are part of the Earth's energy system. Monuments serve to reveal or mark the network, making the sites more special by connecting and networking them together. So what we just talked about is ancient places that happen to be on ley lines, like these things, pyramids. Our bodies know and remember the power places, sacred places on earth. It longs for these times when the rational part was dormant and the people perceived energy directly. Our journey begins more than 5,000 years ago. Dun, dun, dun. At the time, human beings were connected to nature and the earth and the sky and the elements. We were able to see energy, and knowledge was intuitive. Because you can remember everything, right? They knew that some places on earth have special, very powerful vibrations, places where feminine and masculine elements blend together to create an exceptional energy. That's the yin and the yang. They knew these power places were kind of a gate to a higher realms that had levels of energy that were higher in these places. And it was like food for their souls. It's like food for their souls. Power places energy levels vary according to seasons. It culminates once or twice a year, depending on alignment of the site with the sun. Blah, blah, blah. Like in the morning, the first 6 or 7 minutes of sunrise and the last 5 or 6 minutes of sunset, especially sunrise more than sunset, has a different level of energy. It's actually measurable. So once again, they got to tell us what they're doing, right? This is Google's interpretation of what these look like.
Wow.
Yeah. Sort of a couple of them there, aren't they?
Just a couple.
We might come back to this and look at this video. We do this. Might close with it.
My name is Peter Shampoo.
Peter Shampoo. Sounds hairy to me.
Great name.
So this is an example of a ley line engagement. You can sort of see some sacred energy pieces here, and it looks a lot like this might be permutations of a vibration from last night, right? When we were watching last night.
Right.
So some of these paths are different. This is an example of a ley line set. Follow Athena energy lines. Look, this is right through Italy. We're going to find some. I bet you if we look down these, we would see that this is St. Michael's Mount, Monte Saint Michel, Léon, Les Mons, Tours, Blios, Isaldon, Bourget, Saint-Sois, Divers, Boulogne, Dijon, Calais, Saint Vincent de Pré. So all these places they're saying in this line that these are all significant spots. And we're going to see a breakdown of this here in a couple of tabs. Perhaps the most famous ley line in Britain is the Michael and Mary line, which runs across England from Hopton to Norfolk to St. Michael's Mount in Cornwall, and it's right around the globe. Line to Beltane and Lunasada, Lama's Sunrise. This was first rediscovered by Jean Rocher and Joel Michel, and subsequently described in more detail by Hamish Miller and Paul Broadhurst in The Son of the Serpent in '89. So they're saying that this is a documented line. And it goes right down the sun line, and that this is their estimation of how this thing works and where it is based on the historic sites that are engaged in this line set.
So would you say that all of the ley line is where the Tartarians built their cities and their buildings?
Well, let's look at that. So these are all of the latitude and longitude of these components that are mapped in the graphic above. And you're going to see that there's just a few places here that I can make reference to by names of cities, or I think there's a few of these that are slated. It'd be interesting to cross these over with the points of engagement with all the earthquakes.
True.
Okay, so here's another representation. Let's look at some cities. Looks like San Francisco right there, doesn't it? Nope, that's farther up. That's in Washington. That might be DC. Oh, wait a minute. We're having a crap load of stuff up here. This is farther up. This is South America. Here's California. This is that is Los Angeles Basin, San Francisco, right? We got a bunch of stuff
Yeah.
going on there. This is down in South America. That's going to be Costa Rica, Belize, San Salvador. This is up over into Britain and the edge, France. The first Church of the Way is actually right there. That was Peter and Magdalene and Nicodemus who escaped to that in like 3 BC or 3 AD. Where am I at over here? Is that the middle of? Is that China? Maybe China. And this is New Zealand over here. So this is Australia. Look at that part of Australia. There's nothing there in Australia. That place is decimated. That's supposed to be nothing but indigenous people. Ley lines are alleged alignments of a number of places of geographical interest, such as ancient monuments and megaliths that are thought to be a certain adherence to dowsing and the New Age beliefs to have spiritual power. Their existence was suggested in 21 by amateur archaeologist Alfred Watkins in his book, The Old Straight Track. The believers in ley lines think that the ley lines and their intersections points resonate a special psychic or mystical energy ascribed such characteristics to ley lines has led to the term being classified as pseudoscience. So there's a spot that is right about, where is it going to be? Right over here. It's
Can you zoom in on that?
I can a little. So the first chakra, these are supposed to be the 7 chakra points of the planet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Looks like I've got a couple of extras. But these are the ley line points. So the planet has chakra points just like the human body. The first one is at the root of, at the base of the spine or Mount Shasta. The second one is in Lake Titicaca, which is, I guess, why it's sexual. And the third one is.
Couldn't read this, could you?
No, I just couldn't get past the titty reference. Just got to do it. So, the third chakra point is in your center, your solar plexus. Between your third and your fourth chakra point is where your forever cells live. The 8 cells in the middle of you that remember everything. You know, you're new every 6 months by cellular reproduction, yet you remember how to wipe your ass. So, you know, you can't forget everything. Fifth chakra point is in the Great Pyramids. This is the Sphinx and the Mount of Olives, this entire area. Number 6 is, where did 6 go? Gate 13 in Moscow opens, only the other 12 are healthy. It looks like there's a couple over here. 11 is Tapa Nui in New Zealand. Mount Fuji in Japan is 9. I don't know where 6 went. 6 is around here somewhere, I'm sure. So these are the chakra points of the planet. This is the way the primary ley lines are supposed to function. Of course, they have to do this curvy thing because they're showing around Earth. So let's go back a little bit and talk about electricity and what we think about ley lines and electricity. So there's something called a Leyden jar. Anybody ever heard of a Leyden jar before?
I have not.
Okay, a Leyden jar is a very early battery. Leyden jars look like this. This is a battery. This is an early, what turned into a lead acid battery. So it's a Leyden jar consisting of a bottle with a metal spike through its stopper to make contact with the water. And this is an acid-based water. There's a lead acid system that we were used as a secondary set. But as a Leyden jar or a Klystine jar is a component that stores high voltage electric charge from an external source. And look at this. That looks a lot like a torium field, doesn't it?
Wow.
The electrical conductors on the inside and the outside of the glass typically consists of a glass jar with a metal foil cemented to the inside and the outside surfaces and a metal terminal projecting vertically through the jar lid to make contact with the inner foil. It's going to be it's lead acid is what we made it into, but it works with water. The ancient Greeks knew about this. This is a Leyden jar being manufactured in, I don't know, based on the dress, that looks like 1680. So we've established that ley lines exist. They've been marked up by the other guys as a movie. There's a connecting network that puts them together. We have examples of that network, and then we have examples of people getting that network to function. This is from, you know me, 18 something. After this time, there was an interval of nearly 20 years in the progress of science until Mr. Stephen Gray established a new era in the history of electricity. To him, we owe the important discovery of communicating the power of native electrics to other bodies. Native electrics. What do you think native electrics is?
I'm not sure.
Ether-based energy. So this is the wonderful effect of positive and negative fire points. These are the original notes from Franklin. I will put these up. I found these earlier today. So effluvial virtues of electricity are impracticable. So Franklin was a direct current guy, a DC guy, and that is because he was direct energy. We didn't have to have long haul alternating current because there was no long haul of electricity. It was pulled locally. So this is from, I think, 1807. The history of electricity. In 1807, the history of electricity. Aren't we supposed to have no electricity and burning candles? So the history of electricity, just making sure we hear that. The property which amber possesses of attracting light bodies was observed by the Thales of Miletus 600 years before Christ, who concluded from hints that it was animated. But the first person who expressly mentioned this subject was Theophrastus about 300 years before Christ. So 300 years before Christ, we're discussing electricity. The attractive property of amber is also occasionally noticed by Pliny. Pliny the Elder was a leading Greek philosopher of the time, not 15th century, 1500 years before Christ. And the other naturalists, particularly Gassendi, Sir Kenelm Digby, and Sir Thomas Brown, that it was generally apprehended that this quality was particular to amber and jet, and perhaps agate, till Dr. Gilbert, a native of Colchester, who was a physician in London, published his treatise De Magnete in the year 1600. So in 1600, I have a treatise of magnetism engaged with electricity. In 1600, Dr. Gilbert made considerable experiments and discoveries, considering them the infant state of the science. So in 1600, there's the infant state of a science. You show me a single Western from the 1800s, 200 years later, where the guy has a flashlight. You ain't going to find that in a Will Rogers movie. There is a catalog of electric substances. This is the history of electricity. The light emitted by electrical bodies was soon after observed at much greater advantage by Dr. Wall, who ascribed the light to electricity property which they possess. He suggests a similar between the effects of electricity and lightning. A couple of hundred years in. Let's do it again. The essay on the history, practice, and theory of electricity by John Bywater. This performance is divided into three parts, which are sufficiently indicated in the title. The historical division is about drawn up by Priestley. The practical division explains with sufficient clearness the common electrical apparatus. A common electrical apparatus. What has to happen for something to be common? It's commonly found. It's common. I can go to the store and get it. Hey, you want some ley line pictures? I got some ley line porn for you. Look at this. So if we go, there's a ley line. We saw this one, right? There's another one that's up here. You see all these intersect together. There should be 5 or 6 colors here. I can see 2 of them. So this should be a vortex of crossovers. That's why this basin is so powerful. Look at all this engagement. Look up here farther. All the way up. Oh, is that near Anchorage? Yep. Looking at this, this is really close to our earthquake patterns. Can't get away from that damn earthquake pattern.
I was going to ask if that any coincidence with, because we know there's no coincidences, but if you look at the Alaska and California earthquakes these last 10 days, it looks like that's where the main sources are.
Yep. How do I get to this? Oh, I have to go into Google Earth. So I'm not doing that. What's that look like? A hole in the top you're trying to hide? Looks like it to me. Okay, so this is another ley line map set. This is the Great Lakes specifically. How are we doing? 20 minutes. This is a field of links that I just included in the link set. Let's go over here and spend a couple minutes listening to this guy.
I guess I'm a map maker of sorts. What I do is I take patterns in nature and culture and try to come up with some kind of geometry that would display, depict, create a holistic view of society and patterns and interrelationships of various geographic
So he's in Google Earth. I recognize that interface. So this is the Google Earth energy set.
sites. What you see in front of you is a ley pattern, can be followed around the world. We'll just make it a flyover. It's very much fun thing for me to do here. This particular, what I call these are ley lines, or ley bandings, if you will, because these are wide bands that go through. Now, this particular band that we're looking at, I call the Acadian ley because it links the Acadians of Nova Scotia up here with the Acadians of Louisiana, where they emigrated to after they were kicked.
Yeah, look at that. Sort of a hot spot, isn't it?
Amazing.
Into the coast. Now we're going across the Great Pond, across the mid-Atlantic Rift with Silk Road.
So this is, once again, we can see we're at the edge of Britain. So there's going to be an intersection nexus here. Look right near London. It's going to come across, and we're going to see that there are going to be all sorts of different things that are across these line sets.
This line is where America is dancing right now, and it's a place of great conflict and strife.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about that.
Line here, this Acadian line that was coming over from North America actually went through Dublin and London.
So if you look at this, is it hard to look at this segment and see that as possibly a 36th or maybe a 24th of a circle? You see that? It looks like about a 24th, doesn't it? It's about a 16% declination between the two line sets. So that's going to put us right about 24 when we get to 360 around the edge. So that's two 12s. There's two of everything. Everything's doubled up. So one is an opposing set and one is a positive set. Lines are yin and yang, just like everything else.
It did on the global models that I had used prior to Google Earth, and perhaps and right down through here in Troy.
So all these places that he goes across are going to have a direct reflection back to our list of geographical points that are significant on the map. What he's doing, see same line sets. No one's exactly correct about this. I have yet to see a full line set that I agree with. So the Leyden jar has been around for a very long time. Does this look like something that they made more than once, since there's so many pictures of it? Electricity existed. It is based on ley line architecture. Ley lines are known. Here's one that this doesn't look like it was printed yesterday. It's a very old map.
Everything is connected. We're connected back to Mother Earth, shall we say?
Yep.
Well, we all have that magnetic frequency, you
That's
know.
exactly right. We are frequency, vibration. Hey, talk to Tesla. If you want to talk about humans and success, and healing, talk about vibration, frequency, and light. Right? So ley line system exists as an independent circuitry with capacity to affect consciousness. Ley lines are part of the Earth's energy system. So are we. We are part of the electrical ecosystem of the planet. We are part of the electrical ecosystem of the planet, and we have been unplugged and put to sleep.
Yes.
Well, that's how, I was going to say, you know, that's just like if you take your shoes off and you go walk in the ground and the dirt and get in nature, you ground yourself. You know, you get rid of all these free radicals from you. They all cease to exist.
Well, yes, they're literally discharged.
Yeah.
If you are discharged from your position, you're fired. You're out. If you are discharged from our electrical ecosystem, then so everything shows up as inflammation. All disease is inflammation based, and inflammation is represented by an extra charge. Grounding depletes that charge. No more inflammation. 32 trillion cells get a little less inflamed. Your body feels better. We're going to talk about some tech that we can bring forward here. I want to be very careful about how we do that. This is about many things, but it's not about profiteering. So, but there are things that are available on the market. So, we're almost at 30 minutes here. Any closing thoughts here? What we've learned today?
Well, that God created, when he created the world, these energy forces to be able to sustain us, and give us these frequencies where we all are one and balanced.
And we all need to go back to Mother Earth. We need to reconnect the way we were meant to be.
And that starts by connecting with each other positively, with good frequency and of your higher self.
Loving one another. Absolutely.
Yep. Okay, so let's get this one packed in the can. I will catch up with you guys in a little bit. I'm going to step away for a minute. Look, happy Monday. We're going to do more of this today. I need to go contemplate what we're doing next. But this is important. This all ties together with what we've been producing lately, and this is important information. So look, I appreciate everybody here. I appreciate your time.
Great.
Good evening.
Say good night, Gracie.
Good night, Gandalf. Good night, Thor.